Welcome to LC Screen Talk. My name is Larry, and today we're doing something a little bit different. So first of all, like my shirt, my new shirt, right? Get it? Made in the 90s, and I was made in the 90s, just like these cartoons. Forget that. Forget. That ain't why we're here today. Why are we here today? Well, it's time to discuss some of your unpopular movie opinions. So I thought for a fun new video idea, I would go to Twitter, go to Instagram, and have you all submit some of your most unpopular movie opinions. And let me just say, I knew already, because I'm friends with a whole lot of shady people, I would get quite a few responses. Plus, if I'm being honest, I'm not sure that some of you aren't just contrarians naturally from birth. So I knew I would have lots of unpopular opinions to be looked through. However, I didn't quite expect this many. I got a ton of unpopular opinions submitted, both on Instagram and on Twitter. And today, I'm just going to react to your unpopular movie opinions. So let me just start off by saying this. I'm just gonna keep it real here. I'm a basic bitch. A lot of my movie opinions are pretty popular and mainstream. But is that a shock? I mean, we are dealing with a popular person here. But seriously, I disagree with a lot of the opinions y'all submitted. Still love you. Still value all of my friendships with everybody and the opinions that you all have. But I'll sparingly agree with what you have to say in this video. So we got a ton of opinions to get through in this video. We're going to try to get through them all. So let me go ahead and shut my big mouth and see what y'all had to say about some movies. So I'm lazy, and I did not like screenshot these or print them out or take the time to write them down. So it's all going to be right here on my phone. Just going to scroll through Insta, scroll through the tweet, and see what y'all had to say. So over on Instagram, Dylan Flickinger puts, Ant-Man is the most underrated character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm not mad at this one. We're starting off a little boring. I'm not mad at it. I don't love Ant-Man necessarily. I think he always kind of falls in the middle of my Marvel character rankings. I've done 2 different ones at this point. But both of his films have been entertaining. I don't really have much to say about Ant-Man, so take that as you will. Cody O'Toole says, I like Guardians of the Galaxy 2 more than the first. Well, Cody, we're all wrong sometimes. But really, Guardians 2 is one of my least favorite MCU films. I just couldn't get on board with it. I didn't think it did much well. You and many others absolutely loved it and think it's like so amazing. For me, it didn't work, and the first Guardians was miles ahead of the second. My dear friend Ricky, aka Ricky D, says, Star Wars is the most overrated movie franchise. It's rather boring. Ricky, you know I love you. But this ain't it, sis. No. Dusty, what are we doing? Me and you, we need to sit down because clearly we have not educated our girl here. We need to go ahead and show her to the light, Dusty. Come on now. Danny Z says, Cars 2 is a fun, enjoyable sequel and not Pixar's worst film. Alright, so we have 2 kind of unpopular opinions here. One I agree with, one I don't. So the first one is Cars 2 is fun, enjoyable, fun little sequel. I generally agree. I actually don't hate Cars 2 nearly as much as the general public does. However, I do think it is Pixar's worst film, and I don't really think it's that close of a contest. It's a solid animated film that's not nearly as bad as many other animations, because even Pixar's worst is better than a lot of the other garbage we get. However, for me, it is still Pixar's worst. My cousin, Aaron Tanguma, hopped on over on Insta and said John Carpenter's Halloween is severely overrated. Oh, right now, Aaron. Mr. Horror aficionado Aaron here. Well, you know, you're wrong. Even watching Halloween back, I just think it's great. So I don't know. What did you think of the new one, Aaron? What did you think of the 2018 Halloween? Did you like it? Regarding the original, It's a classic, and I guess whether you personally enjoy it, I think it's pretty hard to deny what it did for the horror genre at large. Jackie Figs says, Harry Potter movies are so slow. Well, I can't fully disagree. I don't know that I necessarily agree either, because the real tea is I've only seen the first 3 of the original Harry Potter films. And I said I was interested enough to pick up the rest of them and finish out the series. Oof, it's been like 2 months and I still haven't watched another one. So clearly I agree with you on some level, and there's a reason I never got through the rest of the series to begin with. Jaden Page says The Dark Knight Rises is crap. Well, I don't agree, really, but it's definitely my least favorite of the Dark Knight trilogy from Christopher Nolan by a decent margin. I still think it's a pretty solid film. I think it does a lot of things right. However, I do also think it does a lot of things wrong, so crap is a bit of a strong word, but yeah, it's not great. Alright, then my girl Ren, she had a lot to say. Very opinionated, Ms. Ren. So we start off with 2001 A Space Odyssey is unbelievably boring. No. I just watched this in IMAX again this year, and I fully disagree with this opinion. I guess I can see why people find it boring. However, I don't. Plus, it's a masterpiece, and there's a reason it's a masterpiece. So hopefully, you can still appreciate, Ren, what it did for film at large. Number 2, La La Land is trash. So, I understand some of your complaints. We've obviously discussed this ad nauseum. As well as some other complaints I've heard. The choreography, not great. The musical numbers, they're fine. But it's still a beautiful film. I mean, it's beautifully shot. I think it was well acted. And that melancholy ending is absolutely fantastic and really what hooked me into the film. So, don't really agree. Don't think it's trash. Actually quite enjoyed it myself. But I understand people's problems with it. Ren strikes again with Scarface is horrendous. Just absolutely absurd, over-the-top insanity. So as the good old Italian girl that you are, I understand. It's very stereotypical Italian, maybe offensive, but, you know, I think it's fun. I love Al Pacino being over the top, so I'm not going to say that it's not over the top. I just don't necessarily find it horrendous. Then Ren says, Pierce Brosnan is the best James Bond. Just no. Period. My final unpopular opinion from Ms. Ren over on Instagram is Joe versus the Volcano is an incredible movie. So let me just say, I watched this film just for this video. And I guess to appease Ren. What a dedicated, wonderful YouTuber I am, right? But seriously, I'd never seen it, so I didn't actually have an opinion on this. So she lent it to me, I watched it. This movie is bonkers. And I do like a lot of what it actually has to say, and like the underlying message of the film. But incredible? We're stretching, girl. Stretching. I got y'all opinion so long ago, having to like scroll through my entire Twitter feed to find that post. Have mercy. On Twitter, Ryan Cam says, Get Out is overrated. Well, I'm part of that overrated crowd. Then I'm part of that overrated crowd. I love Get Out. And did y'all see that Us trailer? Dead. I don't even know how I'm recording this video because I am dead. Justin Watches Movies says Robin Hood 2018 was a good film. I'll give you guilty pleasure film. I don't know that we're gonna go ahead and put good on there though, Justin. Let's calm down. Ashley, the movie oracle, says Batman and Robin is still one of the most colorful and entertaining superhero flicks I've ever seen, with an incredible score, great soundtrack, and campy one-liners. Well, you know what, Ashley? I like this. I like that you went on ahead and defended that unpopular opinion as you said it, because it definitely needs some defense. So I'm not going to completely disagree with you on this one, because Batman and Robin is like top 5 so bad I kind of love it kind of films, because it is bad. Like, not a good film really anywhere. It's definitely colorful, as you said. The campy one-liners, yes, they're there. The soundtrack, the score, okay. Entertaining? Sure. So, I mean, I guess what can I disagree with in here? Because, as I said, it definitely falls under the category of so epically bad that it's good, you know. So, yeah. Jared Buckendall has a 2-in-1 here. So, he says, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen is an awesome flick, which was co-signed by Alex Madden as a guilty pleasure. I mean, I found it pretty boring. I like forget about it, actually. I forget it exists. So, I don't know about awesome and fun. And then Jared continues with Widows is not a good movie. So I see that Jared's 2018 opinions are not to be trusted. Cool. Ren Geekness says, I like Terminator, Genesis, and Prince of Persia. No shame. Well, if you like it, I love it, I guess, but sometimes a little shame is needed, Ren. In Terminator Genesis, garbage, if you will, needs some shame on it. You did get some cosigns, though, on Prince of Persia, including Garage Movie Reviews, who started out with that as one of his. He switched to something a little bit later. But Prince of Persia, I think, is actually fine, other than the horrid whitewashing. I love you, Jake Gyllenhaal, but you should have never taken this role. Prince of Persia is fine. So then I'm going to jump over to Garage Movie Review's second unpopular opinion. So he says, Prince of Persia was already said, so I'll throw in another video game adaptation I adore. And that is DOA, Dead or Alive. It paid homage to the game appropriately, plus you get Eric Roberts as a martial arts villain. People saying it was too hokey were clearly playing a different game. I think I saw Dead or Alive. I don't remember it. And I've never played the game. There's that. People down in the comments, let him know if you agree, because I honestly don't have an opinion. Raul Alcantar says, for me, La La Land, most overrated movie, and the Lego Movie. That's my opinion. So I'm thinking, you're saying Lego Movie is also overrated. Those are like the top 2 for you, La La Land and the Lego Movie. So the Lego Movie I do think is overrated. I actually prefer Lego Batman movie personally. I didn't really get all of that love for the Lego Movie. It's fine, but La La Land I don't really think is overrated. I think it has enough like hate and backlash toward it that it falls under like divisive film territory. As we've already heard here in this video, some people think it's trash. So I like La La Land. I think the Lego Movie is fine. It's a well-animated film, but So Ryan O'Toole says, Dunkirk and Birdman are my 2 picks for most overrated movies of the decade. Boom! Well, I definitely disagree for Birdman. But I do know Rachel from Rachel's Reviews agrees with you there. I loved Birdman. So we're just going to set the Best Picture award here and move on. As for Dunkirk, I somewhat agree. I thought it was okay, but I didn't love it. And that was definitely reflected in my Best Picture nominee ranking list from last year. It was well executed. It just didn't really grab me as a film overall. Shattuck, the review guy, says, unpopular opinion, Dunkirk was completely disappointing to where it was overhyped. Easily an overrated film from 2017. Same with Thor Ragnarok, most overrated film of 2017. Again, Dunkirk, I'm basically more or less on the same page. I think it was a little bit overrated. overrated, overhyped. I didn't love it. Thor Ragnarok, I loved. So Thor Ragnarok, I guess if you're going off of critical rating, we could say is overrated. However, I do think that one's also divisive. I think there's a lot of people who hate on Thor Ragnarok. So, for consensus, I would say that overrated is a stretch. I loved it personally, though. All around, I kind of disagree with that one. Jerome Latimer says, the biggest known one for me is Blade Runner 2049. While everyone had it among their best, I was the complete opposite. I despise this film with a burning hatred, passion. Boring, dull, slow, and a waste of time. It's hands down my most overrated film of the 2010s. Jerome, I have a feeling all of your movie opinions could have been included here. I know you have a lot of unpopular movie opinions in your arsenal. This one, I disagree with. I absolutely loved Blade Runner 2049. I think it was amazing, fantastic. Maybe it was a bit slow for some, maybe it was too long, but I think it was pretty spectacular, and it did in fact make my top 10 of the year, so there we go. Ashley Eric Pascal says, A Star is Born had a bad ending. I mean, again, it's a remake, so it had a very similar ending to the other three. And I think it had the same ending as one of the other three. The first two had a slightly different ending, but the same outcome. I think the ending actually could have been executed better, so I'll agree with you on that. But I think the emotional weight of the ending held true and gave the intended effect. So disagree on that front. Alex Madden says, I like Alex Payne. I definitely know I'm coming across as an idiot for that one. Haha. You sure are. Just kidding. I actually don't ever even remember watching Max Payne, so I don't have too much to say for this. Just by the title of the film and you calling yourself an idiot, I can assume that you're wrong, but what are we gonna do? Jamie Hughes says, Arrival is boring. And then Jerome Latimer, he strikes again, says, agree 100%. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and agree with this one. I don't know if I actually think it's boring per se. This is one that I thought was majorly and totally overhyped and overrated. I didn't really love Arrival, and I thought the ending was horrible. So there you go. Logan Battles said Blade Runner 2049 is the most overrated film of all time. Period. All right, so you and Jerome, you're on the same page. You're feeling it with that Blade Runner 2049 hate. I already said what I gotta say. I loved it. So I'm part of that crowd that overrates it, I guess. All right, Rachel reviews Strikes, and I know she has some strong opinions. We're starting off with a film that's shown up quite a few times. La La Land is fine, but not even close to the greatest musical of the last decade. And I'm actually going to agree with this one. I thought La La Land was actually better than fine. And again, I think it's that ending, that really dark, sad, depressing ending that got me. But even this year, I think we've gotten much better musicals. And if you dare count animation like Moana, then it doesn't even come close. Then Rachel goes on to say, Silence, Birdman, American Beauty, Rango are pretty but very flawed films that I personally dislike greatly. Okay, so I agree with you on Rango. I actually don't like Rango at all. I also really did not like Silence at all. I was right there with you on that one as well. I've already discussed Birdman. I love. American Beauty. I love. So, I guess we split the difference on this one, Rachel. So Caleb, from Caleb Says Stuff and People Are Terrible, says, Pacific Rim Uprising is just as bad or as good as the first. I enjoyed both, but neither is a good film. They are dumb, loud movies that are campy, and neither is well acted or well written. Well, I definitely disagree on this one. I love the first Pacific Rim. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was a bunch of fun. And I really thought that second one was terrible. So, Nicole Jones says, old John Wayne movies make me wonder if being deaf and blind would be a better option. Savage. All right. Everyone says they're classically boring in my opinion. Why they made more than one is completely lost on me because it's the same movie over and over with John Wayne as the heroic cowboy and different unimportant characters there to make him look good. I'm not a Western fan. I'm definitely not an old classic Western fan, so I don't really disagree with you on this one. one would have been plenty. Will Smith, not that Will Smith, but this Will Smith, says many of the Roger Moore James Bond movies make me want to pop my eyeballs out with a rusty corkscrew. Now we're getting real shady. I told you I had shady friends. They're too dated for me to visually enjoy, yet the Sean Connery Bond movies are dated also, but with the classic style, which I still enjoy. I actually completely agree with you on this one. I think the old Roger Moore movies are super campy, and a big reason I'm kind of meh on the whole James Bond thing. Sean Connery is still the best Ren to me that has ever been in the role, so there you go. Saint Nick says Avatar is an overrated snooze fest. So again, we get in there with that overrated. So I have to disagree with you on the word overrated just because I think it's just as disliked as it is loved. As for snooze fest, I can kind of agree because, hey, we've seen it 500,000 times already. So unoriginality tends to be a bit boring, even when the visuals are beautiful for the time. Chandler Langley has 2 in here. He says, I think The Amazing Spider-Man has created great things for the Spider-Man franchise, and Man of Steel has a really bad execution for the type of film it's doing. So, in general, I agree on both. I actually like The Amazing Spider-Man. I would rank it above both its sequel and Spider-Man 3 when it comes to Spider-Man films. I thought Andrew Garfield was a good Spider-Man, and yeah, I mean, I liked it as a whole. As for Man of Steel, as you might have seen in my recent DCEU ranking, not a big fan, and I agree with you. It had a lot of bad execution for any type of superhero origin story. So, not really a fan. The media reviewer says, I like Cars better than The Good Dinosaur. I don't think I necessarily agree. And to be honest, I don't actually know that this is an unpopular opinion, media reviewer. I know a lot of people really don't get on board with The Good Dinosaur and don't like it. So I think a lot of people, as maligned as the Cars franchise is, might put Cars above it. However, I don't know. They're pretty equal to me. I've not done a Pixar ranking, so when that comes out probably next year, I guess we'll see. So Daniel from Half Cocked says, I've got a laundry list, but one that'll get my socials buzzing. Aliens is boring as all get out. Are you sure you're not the boring one, Daniel? Yeah, no. I definitely don't co-sign this one. The Reese's Reviews says, I don't think Empire is the best Star Wars movie. Revenge of the Sith is my favorite Star Wars episode. So, I don't agree across the board. Empire is the best Star Wars movie. It's by far my favorite Star Wars movie. However, I do actually enjoy Revenge of the Sith a lot more than a lot of other people. It's a lot higher on my Star Wars ranking than most would have it. So, don't fully disagree there, but learn to love Empire. Embrace it, Reese. Opinionated Reviews Man says, Interstellar is one of the worst movies ever made. Another situation where I don't fully agree, but I don't disagree. Worst movies ever made is a bit strong. I wouldn't go that far. I don't even think it was one of the worst movies of its own year. However, I think Interstellar is not good. I didn't enjoy it, and I think it completely and totally falls apart by the end, so there we go. Rachel's Reviews strikes again, saying Batman is way not as cool as Superman, and most of his movies, he's outshined by the villains. Are you sure you know the definition of cool, Rachel? But seriously, no. Superman is bland, vanilla, boring. He's there, I guess. Yay for being overpowered. I'm not a Superman fan, and I love Batman, so definitely disagree on that one. I won't completely disagree on your second point, though. Batman's rogue gallery is definitely iconic and the best rogue gallery of any superhero, and I think that does help make him as a character more iconic, so I won't disagree that he gets outshined, but no. Darren Lucas says the Asylum make entertaining disaster movies, however bonkers they are. I had to actually look up the Asylum Movie Company, to see if I had even seen them, and I don't think I've seen a single film on the list, so I can't really speak to that. I did see that Final Sharknado was on there, so I'm already questioning your judgment, Darren. But I can't fully disagree because I haven't seen any. Miguel Baylona says, "'Twas not great by any stretch of the imagination, especially in comparison to the new trilogy, but I enjoy Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes for what it was, and I quite liked the ending, whether it made sense or not. Tim Roth was fantastic." So I don't hate Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes film. I also don't love it. So I guess if you want to call it just entertaining for what it is, sure. I guess I somewhat agree. Yeah, it doesn't really compare to either the old or the new to me. It'd be pretty low on my ranking list, but Rohan, or Happy Holidays, says Hercules, Rango, Bad Times at the El Royale, Napoleon Dynamite, and Crash really don't do it for me. Alright, so we got a lot of films here. Bad Times at the El Royale, there's the door. Hercules, if we're speaking of the 90s Disney, there's the door. However, the other three, Rango, completely agree. I don't know why everybody likes Rango. I'm not a fan at all. Napoleon Dynamite, never got the appeal. I think I watched it once and was like, what is this? No thanks. And then Crash. Crash has some good elements to it, but it will forever be known as the film that stole the Best Picture Oscar away from Brokeback Mountain. So I agree. Nick Canino says Teen Titans Go to the Movies, American Honey, Raw, and American Sniper are 4 of the most overrated films I've seen this decade. So let's take a look. Teen Titans Go to the Movies, I thought was fantastic, so don't agree with you there. American Honey, I also thought was pretty great, so can't really agree there. Raw, also thought was pretty good, so guess I just helped make all of these films a bit overrated. But American Sniper, I agree, was not that great. However, that term of overrated again, I think is subjective because it didn't even get that great of critical reception. And I would say the general public are pretty divided on it. I'd also say the general public are pretty divided on Teen Titans Go to the Movies. But if we're just talking about critical reception, then overrated sounds like it could be used, just not for me. Dennis Fahey says Dunkirk was mediocre. I can't even remember the names of the characters. I see no lie. The characters were completely and totally forgettable, and a big reason it didn't connect with me. BVS Ultimate Edition is a good movie. It's a bit of a stretch. Basically just a longer version of the same movie to me, but The Matrix isn't as awesome as fans make it out to be, but I still like it. The Matrix, I think, maybe is a little bit dated now, but definitely revolutionary for film at large, including graphics, effects, the sci-fi genre in general. So I would say it's pretty awesome. So I don't think I can agree with your claim there. Warren Spencer says Eraserhead is awful. I've never seen Eraserhead, so don't really know. He also says The Goonies is crap, The Shawshank Redemption is highly overrated, as is The Princess Bride. Well, I can't agree with you on any of these. So I definitely think Shawshank Redemption is one of the best films ever. One of my favorite films ever. So yeah, awkward. The DVD Lowdown says, if a movie wins the Oscar for Best Picture, I probably won't like it. Also, it is possible to like a terrible movie as well as hate a great one. I don't think those are really unpopular opinions. They're just facts for you. Bugsy TV says, Star Wars The Last Jedi is an abomination against humanity. And I like Spider-Man 3. Well, Bugsy, I would say Donald Trump is an abomination against humanity. Kim Jong-un is an abomination against humanity. The likes of Hitler and Stalin are abominations against humanity. I don't know that I would ever classify any film ever, except maybe actually the original Birth of a Nation. That was pretty much an abomination against humanity. So definitely don't agree with you there. I think it's pretty hard for a film to get to abomination against humanity level. Plus I like The Last Jedi, so yeah. As for Spider-Man 3, meh. I think it's one of the worst Spider-Man films, so Matt's Movie Reviews says, I love Star Trek V, The Final Frontier. Though I know it's got many, many faults, I believe the character moments are very special, especially between Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. Never seen it. I'm not really a Star Trek fan. Definitely not a Trekkie. So, yeah, I'm sure it's great. Patrick Burrow says Phantom Menace is better than Rogue One. The Last Jedi is one of the best Star Wars films. All right, so we got the exact opposite of what we just heard about The Last Jedi. One of the best. I don't know. I actually haven't done a Star Wars ranking in a while. In my head, even. I really liked it. I think it's a really well-made film overall, so I don't disagree with you. As for The Phantom Menace being better than Rogue One, I'm gonna have to take an L on that one. No. So that's it. That is all of your unpopular movie opinions. First of all, thank you all so much for submitting them. Also, this video is in no way disrespect to any of you or your opinions or a reflection on how I value your opinions. Obviously, I love everybody for submitting opinions and for allowing them to be used here on my video. I know that the internet can be quite the nasty place. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate the outpour of responses I got for this video. And I'm glad you all let me react and slightly roast many of your opinions. So if you liked this video and you want to see me do more reacting to unpopular movie opinions, or maybe a video just sharing mine, go ahead and click that like button down below and subscribe to the channel so you are always up to date on our latest videos. Also, leave your reactions in the comments section down below, either to my reactions or to the unpopular opinions themselves. I love you all so much for your continued support. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!